Hey, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again. The Washington Wizards lose to the Toronto Raptors 132 to 102 in the 202. And seven Wizards did score in double figures, but this was a total team loss. So we are going to look at tonight's loss. We're going to answer the question like, has Jordan Poole turned the corner for the Wizards? And then we're going to chop it up at the end like we always do. Next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again. My man, my guy, the real Oliver is definitely feeling under the weather tonight, so definitely keep my man in your prayers. But I'm a roll solo tonight, but I definitely appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And tonight's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use promo code all lowercase Locked On NBA for a deposit matchup to $100. So the Washington Wizards, yes, 7 Wizards did score in double figures, but this was a total team loss as the Wizards lose to the Toronto Raptors 132 to 102 in DC at Cap 1. So let's get into it, shall we? All right, so look at the stat line. We're gonna look at it from a team standpoint. Again, I'm gonna say it. I'm probably gonna say a lot more. Different game, same script. If you look at what's going on, the Wizards shot 24% from 3-point, as opposed to the Toronto Raptors, who shot, if you round it up, 40% from 3-point range. So again, we got pummeled from the perimeter. Looking at rebounding, they out rebounded us 57 to 41. They got 14 offensive rebounds opposed to our 10. Assist numbers, ball movement was a lot more fluid than ours, man. I mean, they got 43 assists, we got 25. Looking at other stats, they did beat us, and we did beat them in one category, which was turnovers. They got 20, we got 17. But points in the paint, 62 to 56, we lost. I mean, again, second chance points. I say this all the time. The fact that we give up so many offensive rebounds, it leads to prolonged possessions and second chance points. So if you look at the stat line, they got 22 second chance points as opposed to our 5. Fast break points, 27 to 8. We lost that. They pushed the pace. They caught our defense off guard. We're terrible in transition, and they capitalized. This is a well coached. This is a team that, look, yeah, I get it. Looking at the standings, they are better than us, but they're not. They're not really where they want to be yet. If you look at the record right now, they have a record of 12 and 18. So the 12th in the East, as opposed to 5 and 25, we're 14th in the East. So they're not too much better, but you can tell that. Is there a talent gap? Yes. I mean, they have a young squad who's ready to roll. So looking at us, man, again, we got dominated every aspect of the game. This was a team loss for us. Now, looking at individual statistics, like, again, 7 Wizards in double figures, but ball movement was atrocious. Atrocious, man. Terrible. Looking at the starting 5, Tyus Jones, 11 points, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 5 for 12 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3. So he cooled down a little bit, but Tyus Jones has, that's usually around his average showing, man, usually around 10 to 15 points, 5 to 7, maybe 8 assists. So Tyus Jones does what he does, man. He's holding down the point guard position. Jordan Poole, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, 5 for 12 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3. So again, another person where 3-point shooting was abysmal tonight. Denny Avdia, a better showing offensively. 12 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 5 for 8 from the field, and 1 for 1 for 3, hitting a wide open 3. Definitely what you want to see from Denny. 2 steals, no turnovers. So Denny, this was a better showing offensively. Kuzma, both me and Ed said in the previous episode, man, is that, look, man, he's playing through an injury. They need to go ahead and give him some time to rest. There's really no reason in the world why he needs to be playing. He needs to sit down and get rested up, man, because, he continues to struggle. It was at for most of the season, he was averaging plus, 20 plus points a night where he's kind of cooled down, not really looking interested. I mean, half the team, if you look at Kuz, Gaff had his moments today where he didn't look interested. And we're about to touch base on that. But Kuzma, underwhelming 14 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Now, assist numbers, he was trying to get other people involved. As you look at the fact that we do have 7 Wizards in double figures, but still, I mean, we lost by 30 points. So, I mean, Daniel Gafford, 12 points, 8 rebounds, 4 steals, 1 block. He has been playing well. Now, we're going to touch base again why they were so uninterested. This was a game where it clearly showed, man. Nobody really cared. You're getting close to the deadline. People are just, I think a lot of people are playing to get up out of here. The interest is not there, and it's tough to watch. It's tough for us because, for us dedicated fans who are trying to stay loyal and watch this team even when they're at their lowest, to see the looks on their faces that they don't care, it really is hard for the fan base, man. Like I said, and so before we really get into that, the second unit, Bilal Koulibaly, on 24 minutes, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 for 8 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. But I do like the fact that he's shooting those shots. Corey Kispert, 13 points, 5 for 8 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. So he did well at times, man. But he's kind of off and on. We know what his MO is. And Landry Shamet, only 10 minutes, but in 10 minutes he got 7 points, 1 assist, and including a really, really nice dunk in the first half. But again, man, and I guess we can go ahead and slide in that before the first break, is that, and I noticed a lot of you guys noticed in the comment section, not a lot of care in the world. I mean, this team, a lot of people are ready to get traded. This team you don't see a lot of excitement. You don't see no happiness. People just, I think a lot of the team has checked out. And like I said, from a fan perspective, from an analyst perspective, somebody who covers the team, me and my guy Ed, man, it's tough because you're showing out numbers to try to show sports to the team, but if they're not interested, it's just what message does that really send the fan base? And it's me being a 100 with y'all, man. Like, I want to see some care. I get it, man. This team is not very good. They're in a transitional year. They're in a rebuild. If you look at the record, man, we are 5-25. We are 14th in the East. And good Lord, if it weren't for the Detroit Pistons, we would be the Detroit Pistons. I mean, let's be totally 100 with this. And, it's not a knock against the team. Big fan. I cover the team. But here's my thing is that you got it. I mean, I think a lot of the team has checked out. And so I agree with a lot of you guys who kind of saw the the looks on a lot of faces. Dan Gafford kind of checked out. I mean, so I think a lot of people, if you look at the names that are involved in the trade deadline or leading up to the trade deadline, a lot of people have been named, right? Tyus Jones has been linked to the Houston Rockets, the Orlando Magic. I think the Lakers might be a really good fit. Looking at Kyle Kuzma, he's going to get a lot of attention going towards the deadline. Daniel Gafford was named as a potential replacement for Mitchell Robinson in New York. So I think that would be a fit. I'm a Gaff fan, but you know what? It's a rebuild. And especially if we go out in the draft and get a center, maybe it's best served to have a young guy in the wings ready to take over. So we'll see, man. Like I said, it's unfortunate, but I do believe that this team is checked out. A lot of them are going through the motions. A lot of them are just playing till we get to the deadline, because obviously after the deadline, after this front office gets rid of a lot of these veteran contract expiring contracts, you're going to see a lot more playing time for the young guys, especially Bilal. I'm not going to say Denny. I don't really consider him a young guy anymore, especially signing an extension, but he's definitely young, one of the young guys on his team. So definitely going to get a lot more minutes for these guys who are trying to develop. But I think they checked out, y'all. And like I said, it's hard to watch. And I get it, and shout out to Joshua Jenkins. I just seen a comment. Yeah, I get it, man. We are rebuilding. I get it. It's hard to judge the coaches, but I think we are definitely tanking. But that's the thing, man. It's one thing to lose, but you have to try. That's culture. We've heard a lot about culture for this team, as far as the front office and Coach Wes Unseld Jr., is that they're trying to solidify the culture as a foundation for this team going forward, because it has to be. Culture has to be part of the foundation going forward. And part of culture is playing hard. When your team's checked out, I really feel for the fan base, because you don't see any kind of care in the world. And it's hard to tune in. It's hard to spend money. It's hard to make that drive to go support a team that has checked out. So, we'll see. Like I said, the deadline is getting closer. And like I said, a lot of guys on this team, Really, everybody but Bilal should be a tradable asset. So again, tonight the Wizards dropped to the Toronto Raptors at home, 132 to 102. 7 Wizards do scored in double figures, but we were outplayed almost every facet of the game. So next, we are going to talk about, has Jordan Poole turned the corner, and what is his expectations for the rest of the season, and what do you think is his long-term picture? Is he going to be here in DC, or is he going to be for another franchise? We are going to talk about it next, and then at the end, we're going to chop it up like we always do. But tonight's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Basketball host Josh Lloyd to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week, all season long. Whether you're prepping for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire, every week we're going to provide you with players that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. So let's see who Josh has picked out for us this week. eBay Guarantee Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. All right, so we're looking at 5 players. I'm going to go over the 5, how they would fit on your team, and then which one I would recommend rolling with going forward, man, because I am a fantasy basketball player. I'm a fantasy everything. So we're going to start with Dante Exum. Jason Kidd said that when healthy, the Mavs are still planning on starting Exum. His shooting will regress, but that role is enticing. I mean, when you're on a team with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, I wouldn't expect too many looks, but I mean, if you're looking for, I'm not going to, I don't know, man. I don't know if I would recommend Dante Exum right now. I mean, like I said, for that reason, he's not going to get a lot of looks. Maybe if you need assists for your bench, I definitely, you could roll with him. Another player, Jaden Ivey of the Detroit Pistons. Monty Williams has finally given him minutes, and Ivey has delivered. It remains to be seen if Williams keeps him in that role on a consistent basis, but I like adding Ivey. And I agree with Josh, man. I think that Jaden Ivey, man, if you're looking for a scoring punch off the bench, he's going to get minutes. He's going to get minutes, whether they're trying to develop him or they're trying to move on from at the deadline. If you need points off the bench, definitely consider Jaden Ivey for your fantasy. Isaiah Hartenstein. It appears that Mitch Robinson is out for the season, and Isaiah Hartenstein is a clear add if he's available. Yeah, I mean, I agree. If you're looking for rebounds, some blocks, definitely consider Isaiah Hartenstein because he is in place of Mitch Robinson, who's out for the year. Jalen Johnson. If Jalen Johnson was dropped in your league, make sure you grab him now because he is returning for injury in the coming games. I mean, look, the kid can straight out play. So I would definitely strongly consider adding Jalen Johnson from the waiver wire. And last, Taurean Prince. He isn't spectacular, but the Lakers need his shooting, and he's on a nice run of late. Yeah, if you're looking for 3 points, definitely look at Taurean Prince, man. I mean, defense, steals. If you're looking for a boost in your steal numbers, definitely roll with him. But out of the 5, I'm looking at Jaden Ivey. That is definitely somebody that I'm going to add, especially right after the broadcast. I'm going to add Jaden Ivey. So that's who I definitely recommend. So with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure that your ride stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof rack, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it, man. And with eBay Guarantee Fit, is guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not cash. You know what I'm saying? So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. eBay Guarantee Fit only available to U.S. customers, eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Day is here for you. 24/7 covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So again, appreciate you guys showing up tonight, man. Show me some love. Let's get into it. Jordan Poole, has he turned the corner? And what is the long-term outlook, whether it's here in DC or with another organization? All right, let's slide right into it. All right, Jordan Poole, he has been playing better. And I'll say this, man, he does look a lot more locked in. Now, are there things he needs to work on? Yeah, man. I mean, my biggest issue with him, obviously, look, beginning of the year, we saw a lot of immature issues, trying to be, Hollywood, shooting the ball and turning around, and a lot of ill-advised shots, trying to be fancy. He has settled down a little bit of late. He's starting to look more locked in. And could he improve? I think he will, especially with a lot more playing time after the deadline. Is really going to give us a clearer picture of what this organization is trying to do going forward, as far as who's going to be here. Because like I said, again, everybody on the squad should be on the chopping block. Everybody should be a tradable asset outside of Bilal Coulibaly. Everybody should be tradable. So the deadline is going to show truly what is the direction of this team. But Jordan Poole has been a lot more locked in. Again, tonight, he was one of 7 Wizards in double figures, but long term, here's my question for you guys. Definitely let me know in the comment section, comment down below on the YouTube side. If Jordan Poole does figure it out in DC, do you still see him maybe as a future piece of this foundation, or do you still flip him for assets? Because again, when he first got here, Jordan Poole said, he kind of mentioned this is my team. He kind of had the MO, the mind frame that this is his team. Organization kind of said on the fly, hey, we don't know if we really see you in that capacity. And they kind of looked at him, similar to Kyle Kuzma, as a tradable asset. So what would you guys do? You guys definitely let me know. But me, I mean, it's really a difficult question to answer now. I mean, it's easy. I mean, it's hard, but it's easy, right? I mean, if that makes sense to you guys. Like, it's here for he's on a 4-year contract. So are they really in a hurry to move him? No. But does it also behoove them to boost his value in a chance they can find that right deal? Absolutely. And I've said it before, man. If I'm the front office, I'm going to be very transparent with Jordan Poole and say, I'm going to ask him, do you want to be here? If not, help us boost your value, and then we can move on. Because you best believe, again, everybody knows roster is tradable. Jordan Poole, they're going to definitely try to boost his value and move him at some point, if indeed, they're 100% on him not being part of the foundation. But if he figures it out, what would you guys do? Would you guys retain him? Me, I'm really 50-50. Like I said, I like Jordan Poole. We know what he can't do. He can't defend. He doesn't utilize the shot clock. He shoots a lot of low percentage, ill-advised shots. He tries to be Hollywood, but as a young guy who came from a championship contender where a lot of these issues were hid behind the leadership they had in Golden State, and now that he's in the forefront in DC as being part of the duo with him and Kyle Kuzma, a lot of these issues are kind of put out there, right? So he's got some growing up to do. But if he locks in and he improves as a player, we'll see. He's still young. He hasn't hit his prime yet. So we shall see. But on the flip side, I definitely see the allure of him being a potential trade asset. Because if he figures it out, especially if he figures it out here in DC with our situation, he could be a trade asset. So we shall see, man. Has he turned the corner? I think he's a lot more locked in, but I don't know if he's at that mind frame yet where he's ready to do. I mean, because like I said, it has to be a weird culture shock, right? Going from Golden State Warriors, where you have that core there in Golden State, you have the championship trophies, you have the culture there, and you go to DC where they're trying to solidify a culture. They're trying to, you know what I mean? And veteran wise, you have Kyle Kuzma. You have a really, a head coach who he's in year 3. So the variables are different. It is a completely different situation. And I do believe that he has to acclimate to what his situation is in DC and figure out who he is as a player. Who is Jordan Poole as a player? And I guarantee if he figures that out, man, and he locks in, who knows? We'll see what he does the rest of the year, man. I don't see him being moved at the deadline because right now I don't see him having value. He's got too many things he needs to work on. And look, he is definitely the NBA world has him under a microscope, so they know the issues he has, the struggles he's had. But he is definitely getting better. He definitely is getting better. So definitely let me know what you guys think, man. He definitely is going to be a trade asset, but could he still be part of the foundation here in DC? Let's talk about it. So we're going to move on. We're going to get into comments. We have 21 people in here. Definitely appreciate you guys, man, rocking with me tonight. Wednesday on a back-to-back. My guy E, man, he's out sick, so definitely keep him in your prayers, man. It's that time of the year, man. I mean, I was sick a week ago. It's always something going around, man. So definitely keep Ed, definitely keep him in your prayers, man. He gets better. So we're going to get into the comments, but before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. So you probably asking, what is PrizePicks? Well, PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. We are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than 2 to 6 player stats projections and watch the winnings roll in. So with basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball for the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 more players from different sports leagues. For example, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce at 10.5 combo of 3 points made and receptions. Got to check that out, right? Want to play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week. PrizePicks even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player that exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. That's big. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. So definitely check that out. So go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOn for a first deposit match up to $100. And again, all you have to do is go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOn for the first deposit match up to $100. So let's get in the comments again, man. I definitely appreciate you guys rocking with me tonight, man. So let's slide into it. All right, this is Bullets Nation. What's good? Happy holidays, Brandon and Ed. Sorry y'all had to waste your time watching us lose by 30. Did y'all notice Kuzma and Gafford looking very uninterested? Gafford, instead of contesting, just watch people shoot. And that kind of goes along the line with what I was saying, man. A lot of them are checked out. A lot of these vets are waiting on the deadline to see where they're going. I mean, like I said, I recently talked to Landry Shamit. Oh Lord, Shamit. I talked to him on Christmas Eve, man, and I asked him. I said, what's your mind frame going forward with the deadline coming up? Are you staying in the moment, or in the back of your mind are you thinking about the deadline? And he kind of gave a look towards the GM office about the practice facility, but he is basically, it is what it is. He's been traded before, and then most of these veterans know the situation. They know that a lot of them are going to get moved, either be trade or a buyout candidate, because at this point, Gallo looking more and more like a buyout candidate. So I think they've checked out, man. Gaffer is interesting because, year one going into an extension, there has been rumors that the New York Knicks are looking at him as being a possible replacement for Mitchell Robinson. Gaff has some value. We know, look, Gaff's a curious case because I'm a big Gaff fan. Paint defender, can he be a little limited offensively outside of a lob threat? Yes. But defensively, he's been playing well. The steals, block numbers are up. He's definitely playing better ball, but he could be attracted to a team like the Knicks. Everybody on this team is definitely a tradable asset outside of Bilal Coulibaly. And I stand by that, man. So definitely appreciate the comment. I completely agree with you, Bullets Nation, man. Rolling on, man. Denver for life. It's so hard to watch. It's so hard watching this team. No care, effort on defense minus Bilal. Not even Gafford is trying defensively. Then on offense, turnover, air balls, and a lot of ball hogging. No eye in this team. I completely agree. Ball movement is non-existent. Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole, we knew what the MO was going into the season. They were going to shoot a lot of shots, but the inefficiency is hard to watch. Not utilizing the shot clock, launching the ball, shooting 3-pointers. Kyle Kuzma can be very dependent on that 3-point shot. And the same with Jordan Poole. Shooting the ball 2-3 seconds in the shot clock, it continues to just baffle me. They got to utilize the shot clock. You have to utilize the talent around them. So I completely agree, man. This is just no team basketball, and it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch them lose, but I know a lot of us are loyal. But when you lose and you don't care, I don't get that, man. I really do not get that because, again, a lot of people spend time and money to go watch these games, spend time and money watching it on TV. And for you to just check out, I don't know what kind of message that really sends the fan base, man. So it's disappointing, in my opinion. Desant, shout out to Kuzma for playing through an injury. Yeah, I agree. But, man, he looked so bad and like he didn't care. 6 minutes of cardio for Johnny. Took one shot and missed bad. He's a bust. Kyle Kuzma, I agree with you. I think he is definitely playing through an injury. But I think, again, everybody's checked out. Johnny Davis, and this was a question I asked Wes Unseld Jr., man. I asked him, I said, what is the expected role for Johnny Davis coming back from injury? And he said, we look at him as really a defensive stopper, but you have to play to be a defensive stopper. He has gotten minimal minutes, and I don't think he's part of the foundation. I don't think he's part of the vision of this team. And I definitely think he's going to be an add-on to a trade at the deadline. I think, he doesn't have much value, if nil at all. I mean, defensively, he does. Defense is where the value is for Johnny Davis, but I think his time in DC is coming to an end because from a confidence standpoint, where do you see him getting confidence after not playing at the deadline? And then the deadline passes and say, oh, here you go. I mean, it's been how long? I don't think he's part of the future in DC. Let's see. Joshua Jenkins was good. Happy holidays, Brandon. Transition to perimeter defense is terrible. Been a problem since Scott Brooks days. I know we're rebuilding, but moving forward, We need more incentive on the defensive end. I completely agree. And that's what I'm saying, man. When you're in a rebuild like this one, this is going to be a long rebuild. But, if done right, we will be in a better position than we have been since the 70s. I truly believe that. We have to take our time. We have to hit on draft picks. We have to develop right. We have to. But it starts with culture. Culture is what? Playing hard. Playing hard is the culture that you're trying to establish. If 3/4 of your team, if not majority of your team is checked out, that's not culture, man. That is just that is a recipe for disaster, because you're looking at scapegoats at the end of the year. And then I hate to say this, but a lot of arrows going to point towards Wes Unseld Jr. Whether or not he is truly at blame from the problems here in DC, somebody's got to be a scapegoat. You got a brand new front office. It's very early on in the rebuild. Somebody's going to get blamed. And really, if you look at, Wes came over here from Denver, supposed to be a defensive minded coach, and the defense has not improved under Wes. Now, is it all on Wes? No. Has he had the personnel to implement a defensive system? No. We have had very few true defenders on this team since Wes Unseld Jr. has been hired as a coach. Coming into the situation, we had Bradley Beal, which is not a defensive stopper. KP was all right, but kind of like Gav, when he went against centers who are bigger and stronger, he tended to struggle. Kuz has never really been a defender, and there's times, if you really take a look at his game, man, there's times where he just checks out on defense. He does not have the personnel to defend anybody. Bilal, to me, your top three defenders in this team is DeLon Wright, Bilal, and Denny. Everybody else pretty much check out on defense. So, the blame is going to be interesting at the end of the year. It really is, because it is just not a recipe for success. No care in the world. Nobody cares. Everybody's ready to roll. It's tough to watch, man. And like I said, for the fan base who are that loyal to watch this team, it's going to be a long year. But again, I know rebuilding's a long, man. It's going to be a long one, but keep the faith. I'm trying to tell you, man. I know it's easier said than done, man, but definitely keep the faith. Comment, certified yam inspector. That's a funny name. Daddy smokes yams. Man, that is dope. They lost by 30, fellas. This is a square. No corners to turn at all. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Jordan Poole, I think at this point, just trying to get his value up to where we can flip him is pretty much the choice here, man. Everybody, again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but everybody's tradable. And they should be. I think that, realistically, at the deadline should be the first dominoes to fall. And in the offseason, going into the offseason, the only player on this team potentially should be Bilal. You can say Denny, absolutely. Denny, just signed the extension, but we'll see, because everybody should be tradable. So it's tough to watch, man. Back to you, Joshua Jenkins. We are giving up 130 points a game, and West doesn't call timeout until it's 20-plus point lead. What does that tell you? It's frustrating and disheartening. I get it, because we're rebuilding. Yeah, I'm with you, man. We're rebuilding, and we're not going to be good, but it's a difference between playing hard and losing. If you have a clear talent gap and you're still losing games, I get it. But if you're checking out, that's not what I want to see. That's not the culture I want to see. You just don't check out, because, again, I'm looking at this from many different perspectives. Yeah, I'm a sports analyst and I analyze. But here's the thing: I'm a fan. I'm a consumer. I go to games. I drive 100 or 100, an hour and 40 minutes plus to get to games. To spend money, especially with this economy, what's going on now. People are hurting right now. To spend that time and money for a product that has checked out, you're sending the wrong message to the fan base. And, this has to be shored up. And I get it's a rebuild. I totally get that. I'm ready for it, man. My seatbelt's on. I'm strapped. I'm ready for the rebuild. But the thing is, you have to try. You have to care. You got to work on the culture, man. And like I said, end of the season, man, I think there's going to be a lot of heads going to roll, man. You're going to see a whole different overhaul of this roster. And we'll see what the status is for Coach Wes Unseld Jr. going forward at the end of the season. Carol Pacheco, what's good? Kuzma is really difficult to watch. Every night he crashes against the world. Every game he has 1 or 2 offensive fouls because all the players have already read his game, and Kuzma has 7 turns. That is a really good point. I think that the people would know his game. He does drive the lane hard, and look, they're capitalizing on it, man. Offensive fouls have been an issue. I'm with you. It's just Kuzma, from a leadership standpoint, has been a good leader for this team. But, I think if at the deadline, you definitely sell high. You definitely try to get something for him, because you've got to overhaul this roster. Next year should be year one. Let's get it. Bilal, and go from there. Go into the draft, try to get more than one draft pick going to this draft. But, I can see Denny and Bilal both being part of this team going forward. Those are two names I definitely see going forward. But again, if you're able to get a good package for Denny, go for it, because everybody should be tradable. From a salary standpoint, you want to start from zero. The only contract, and to me, if I'm GM next year, should be Bilal on a rookie scale. Everybody else should be moved, and you get all the draft picks you can. See if you can get the young players back and see what you got. But man, we've got to do this rebuild right, man. We're gonna do a couple more comments. I definitely appreciate you guys, man. Tuning in with me tonight, man. Let's see. Edward Moore looks good. I honestly think we will see the true direction of the team at the trade deadline. Amen. I'm with you. You're going to see a clear picture of truly what is the path for this team after the deadline. Because right now they're consolidating, they're evaluating. I ain't trying to be Mr. Seuss here, but they're trying to boost the value of these guys and move on from the assets and really, really clear out them. It's muddy right now. You know what I'm saying? It's muddy water right now. Trying to clear everything out and see what they have and then go from there. So I agree. You're not going to see the true direction until after the deadline. Let's see. Jude Shaw looks good. How you doing tonight? I feel for Kuz. I wish he could get traded to a better team, at least as good as Atlanta, Phoenix, Memphis. Kuz remind me of Oubre now playing for Philly. That's intriguing comparison, but I feel you, man. I think that Kyle Kuzma is best served as maybe a third or fourth scoring option on a contending team. He can score. Efficiency gets hit, yes, but he's definitely a scorer. He definitely knows how to use his size at 6'10" to drive the lane, but there are things you still want from him from his offensive game. But defensively, man, I wouldn't ask too daggone much. I mean, because I'm just being 100 with you. So let's see. Fred Fezzo, what's good? How you doing tonight, man? Shaman is still trying. Yeah, he is, man. I mean, I'll tell you what, man. Going into the season, I didn't really watch Shaman too much. I was under the impression that he was a shooter. But man, he got a little ups and he can drive the lane with some power. He's going to have some value. I think he's definitely a tradable asset. He's not a long-term piece. I've had the pleasure of actually talking to him, interviewing him at the facility, man. And like I said, his mind frame is he's ready for the deadline. I mean, a lot of these guys are. I think a lot of guys are checked out because they know this is a rebuild. They're ready to see what's next for the NBA careers, and it's really unfortunate that they checked out to the point where they don't care, but that's just the situation we're in right now, and it will change, man. But you just please keep the faith. Joshua Jenkins again. West was doing his post-game interview, was laughing and looked uncomfortable. A lot of these guys are going to get traded. That's why I say it's hard to judge the coaches. It's easy to blame Wes Unseld Jr., but look at the situation he's inherited, man. I mean, he came in with a roster it was like a combination of vets and young guys battling for minutes. He came into a really crazy situation. Tommy Shepard did him no favors with the environment he brought him in. And then now with the transition, he went from that situation with Bradley Beal not, being a number one who wasn't a number one and trying to, see what he can do with this solid three. And now, he's in a rebuild. It's a tough situation. Like I said, they're going to look for scapegoats. Is it entirely fair to blame Wes Unseld Jr.? No, I don't think so. I think that he inherited a really bad situation. But, you guys let me know in the comments, man. I mean, are you willing to sit through another year Wes Unseld Jr. in a rebuild, or do you think the best answer is to get another coach? Definitely let me know. Blimey on one Maynard. Man, that's interesting. Trade Poole to the Heat to see if Riley, Spoelstra, and Butler can fix his mentality or shot selection. That is interesting. The question is, would he adhere to the Heat culture? We'll see, man. I mean, there's been eccentric guys that have been to Miami have been fixed. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's definitely a mentality thing with Jordan Poole. The talent is there. So that's interesting, man. But the question for you is, who would you want in return? I mean, I don't see. Tyler Hero, we shall see. Joshua Jenkins again, man. I agree with you, Brandon. There was no interest for anybody tonight, but it's all part of a rebuild. It sucks, but we will get better at some point. Just hope it's not 5 years plus. Here's the thing. I don't think we get 5 years plus, man, because you're trying to make that move to VA. I think it behooves them if they, and it's not 100%, but you move to a new facility that the taxpayers of the Commonwealth are going to be paying for. You want a winning product on the floor, so it behooves them to make this a 3 to 4 year rebuild. But I totally agree. So, man, a lot of good comments. Hey, I'm going to put it on YouTube. I've already put it on X. we will be doing a mailbag episode tomorrow. So definitely, I'm going to formally put the announcement up on YouTube and on X, but definitely shoot us your best questions. So I'm going to do one more comment, man. I'm gonna do 2, man, because there's a few. I'm gonna do 3. I see a couple of you guys I have not done yet. Dean Pomeroy, I went to the Magic Wizards game yesterday, and it wasn't a complete disappointment. No, they played hard. So that's what I'm saying. Consistency. You know, they have to be consistent. You know, you cannot just check out one game and the next game you don't care. Let's see. Edward Moore said, I honestly see Kispert as part of the future. All contenders usually have a player like him. I agree. You know, you definitely need a shooter, a guy with a high basketball IQ who can cut. I agree. Kispert is somebody that I definitely think they need to go ahead and extend. I think, you know, you need a shooter. And, man, I tell you, man, watching him shoot, he can definitely shoot that ball, man. So, yeah, I agree with you. And I'm going to end the show off with Sheldon T. And it's kind of the same thing. I've been happy with Kispert lately. Always plays hard. Defense is a little better. I mean, he's trying on defense. We know that he's not going to be a stopper, but he's trying on defense. But, you know, Kispert is a guy that I do think he's part of the future. You know, if I had to pick 3 names, it would definitely be Bilal Coulibaly. Denny Avdia would be the guy I would definitely keep around. And Corey Kispert, absolutely. You know, you need a shooter off the bench. So we're going to go ahead and call it there. Again, man, shout out to my guy, E. Hope you get better, man. I'm definitely keeping your prayers, man, because there's always something going around. I mean, I've been sick of a ton this year, man, so definitely keep him in your prayers. You guys get well yourself, man. Watch. So I definitely hope everybody had a good holiday, whether it's Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever, man. Definitely wish you guys spend time with family, ate good, drink a little bit. So we're going ahead and call it a night. We will see you tomorrow for mailbag episode, and then, of course, Friday, they have a game, so we're going to do a preview tomorrow night as well. So, again, appreciate you guys. And Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. And again, on the YouTube side, like, subscribe. If you're not a member of Locked On Wizards, man, definitely consider, man. We have a lot of good content coming your way. We know it's a rebuild, man, but we got the draft, free agency coming up. And we, of course, man, we like to have fun and chop it up with you guys on here. So definitely consider it. On the YouTube, the podcast side, 5-star review is much appreciated if we deserve. So again, everybody have a blessed night. Hail to the Wizards and peace. See you guys next time.